So to begin our service, Daryl Demerit will light 3 lights symbolizing the unity of body, mind, spirit. Thank you. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for our first hymn. Infinite Spirit, infinite light. We're together in the spirit of love, friendship, and unity. These 3 lights symbolizing body, mind, and spirit are the intention to receive blessings today in the body, in the mind, and of the spirit. We gratefully invoke the presence of this infinite intelligence, this infinite light, this infinite love into our hearts, and to bring us peace. And with this we say, amen. Jamie our vocalist, will lead the first hymn.
If you can turn to page 162, Spirit Calls Us.
And
162. I'm sorry, I thought I had a list there. Spirit calls us to all of our lives from restless sea. Day and night, these message bearers send the tidings where with thee. As of old, the prophets heard them by the Galilean lake. So in homes and halls and temples, still they come for our dear sake. Spirit calls us, for they love us. Angels help us hear the call. Send me back affection's message. We love angels, love them all. Angels call us from our troubles. Therefore, earth has lost its gloom. Even death is shorn of power. There is life within the tomb. Thank you. You may be seated.
Located on the handout are our declaration of principles. Please join us in reciting these principles together. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Now, the healing prayer is located in the back of your hymnal. Please recite this prayer with me. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Now, for those of you who wish to receive spiritual healing, we invite you to please take a seat along either wall and go to the next available healer. While the healers work, the rest of us will be joined in a guided meditation. You have music. Coming into this moment with awareness, let us first use our senses to allow us to be completely present to what is so. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Present to the temperature of air on your skin. Notice any scent in the room. Come into awareness of any taste in the mouth. Becoming present to the taste. Become aware of sounds in the room. Present to the music, to my voice. And lastly, present to any light flickering on the eyelids, aware of the sense of sight. Our senses are God-given to allow us to be present to our moment, no past, no future. For this infinite spirit, this light, this divinity is only in the present moment. We rest in the presence of our own divinity, and we use the breath to relax even more fully into this innocence, this primordial nature within, peace, light, and love, our nature. The breath allows us to sink into this knowing of our own divinity. Our senses bring us into the present moment, and then blessings from spirit, from our ancestors, our loved ones, embrace us. We heal in this moment. This infinite light and love surrounding us brings healing to every cell of the body without us needing to do anything. We're not fixing. We're open to the presence of the divine, allowing us to relax and allowing us to be healed and to heal. The silence nurtures us. Silence is like space, and we become spacious in silence. We let go of restrictions. We release contractions. We spread our wings and become spacious in silence. There's a letting go into divinity. There's a freedom in spaciousness. We're not efforting. We're simply being ourselves, allowing the spirit in this temple, your guides, your loved ones, to touch in with you spaciously. Breathing into the present moment, releasing any contractions, letting go into the present moment where God is and all is well. Come into the spiritual heart. If you can imagine breathing down into the spiritual heart, the center of the heart. Breathe into that spacious, compassionate spiritual heart. The kindness of your being dwells there. The fullness of your being dwells in the spacious spiritual heart. The fragrance of your love exudes from the spiritual heart where you exist. That is your center of being. There's mystery, but it's very simple. It's your nature. It's your spiritual being. The healing comes through the silence, through the spaciousness, and through you. The air on your skin, the sounds in the room, your breath, allowing you to be fully present to you, to your peace, to the light, love, and fullness of your being. In this moment, affirm, my love is full of light and promise. My light is full. My love is full. Welcome healing. Welcome the presence of your guides. Welcome the light that surrounds you to touch in to that spiritual heart, to the one being, the one field of light and love. Welcome, spacious presence. This is God within. This is infinite intelligence manifesting through your own spiritual heart, reflected in pure mind, affirming and welcoming. Attending now to transitioning from the aware presence of your being to the fullness of this moment here, seated in Colby Temple. Let's transition gradually from attending within to that spacious heart, to attending to now this transactional reality where we live. And when you feel ready, gradually, very gradually opening the eyes. We'd like to thank our healers for sharing their gift of healing. And from left, Deborah Jordan, Marty Hadaway, Reverend Judy Cooper, Reverend Steve Hermann, Daryl Demerit, and Lori Carter. We thank them. I'd like to bring Jamie up now for our next hymn. Please stand.
If you can rise and turn to page number 9, I love to tell the story. I love to tell the story. I love to tell how angels. I love to tell the story. How angels tell the story. Seem be story. I love to tell the story. Thank you. You may be seated.
I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Steve Hermann. And he is a friend of mine and of many here at Casadega. I just said to him, how long have you been coming, Steve? And he goes, decades. So I'm thinking that's at least 3 because I've lived here 2.5. And he reminded me, he knows me from before that. So what I want to say that his sessions, individual sessions and his workshops, are purely mediumistic. He focuses on spiritual guidance, evidential messages from recognizable personalities in the spirit world. He'll be doing some messages here, also some messages in Grove afterwards. So he's author of this book, Mediumship Mastery, which we have in our bookstore, and there's actually volume 1 and volume 2. He's a really excellent teacher, and he's also been a student of yoga for a long time. So he has this very profound spiritual foundation, and that was, what, 16 he started meditating? Oh, he's a little kid when he started meditating, decades, right? So he holds credentials as an ordained minister, a certified medium, and a teacher. He teaches programs also in the UK for the International Spiritualist Federation. He holds a BA degree from Hampshire College in Amherst. He's a qualified massage therapist and a clinical hypnotherapist. So it's just a delight. He comes every year. We always look forward to having Reverend Stephen Hermann with us, and please welcome him.
Well, good morning. I'm really happy to be here. So I've been here longer than 3 decades. But one of the things is if you want to stay young, formaldehyde. And that definitely has affected me in a good way. But when you get actually into mediumship and you start studying spiritualism, what does it do? It literally enlivens you. So sometimes people have all these misconceptions about the afterlife, don't they? You know, as we physically are in these temporary physical bodies, what happens? You know, the bodies age, there's disease, and eventually, and you don't have to be psychic to predict this, every single one of you is going to kick the bucket. We don't know when it's going to happen, but at some point, we're going to be in the spirit world. And what do spirit people look like? What's the environment of the spirit world like? And of course, if you go to a medium and the individual is making a genuine connection with the spirit individuals who reside there, they're going to be able to bring through information that you can absolutely recognize the person coming through. Has anyone had that happen? And you might have been really skeptical about this. You thought it was a complete bunch of rubbish. And you go and you sit in the back. You might even wear sunglasses because you want to do it incognito and right fit in. And what will happen? The medium will be up here, and maybe she'll feel drawn to you, and she'll bring through someone. And that message will literally transform your life. But in the spirit world, you know, sometimes someone has some type of condition physically here, health condition, or they're elderly. It's not like those physical conditions go with them. You know, they may have certain physical parts of their bodies that malfunction, that aren't what they could be. But it's not like they stay that way, right? Because the nature of the soul is eternal, right? Full of knowledge. And ultimately, as we connect to God, it's filled with bliss. You know, go to these higher types of levels, you can absolutely sense and experience the love of God. You can do it here in this physical world too, but the thing with the physical world is it's very slow and sluggish here. And I know we have daylight savings time, so some of you this morning probably felt that way getting out of bed. However, when you go to Casadega, it's something which is going to help you. It's going to enliven you. And we can think, if we go back over the decades, over the years, even to the last 2 centuries, how many people have gone here? How many mediums just within this temple have stood up here and brought through communications? So all of you came here. Maybe you came with some friends or family or by yourself, but all of you, as you traveled here to Casadega, even if it's across town, there were a lot of people that went with you. How many of you believe this? Because it's not just a matter of belief. In spiritualism, it's conviction. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to go to this person, they've got a turban on, they're going to tell me what I'm going to eat for dinner tomorrow night. Should I eat spaghetti or do I want lasagna? And so spiritualism, it's not some type of fortune telling, is it? But, you know, someone who doesn't know any different, they can go here. But any of the mediums who are involved here in this camp, who've gone through the educational curriculum, they're all ideally going to be able to make a connection with the spirit world. And of course, we think about spirit communication. People have this idea, if I go there, I have this whole shopping list of people I want to hear from, or one I want to hear. And that's not how it works. The individual in the spirit world, they put so much effort in orchestrating a session, in prioritizing the content that's going to come through, the guidance. And it's not necessarily what the person who's the recipient wants to hear. The people who come through from the world of the spirit, they're not necessarily going to be the 3 or 4 people who you want to hear from. But the individuals that touch base through the medium, they put the effort in to connecting in with you. And it's a lot of times the session will be more for the person in the spirit world than it is for the person here. Usually it's a little bit of both. But there's so much effort goes into it. You know, we have the service this morning and we have the singing. And maybe some of you sing, the windows start to crack. But when you sing, your energy field expands, doesn't it? Right? And you can feel it combine with everyone else here. So collectively, there's this potency that's present. Just like if you sit for the healing, how do you think that healing happens? You know, God's the healer, right? The power of the spirit. But who in the world of the spirit is working through the physical instruments? Have any of you ever clairvoyantly tried to tune in to the healers as they're working with people sitting on those stools? Or maybe just with clairsentience, right? The sensing and the feeling, because you're going to be aware of the energies. And the recipient may very well have a depleted energy. But the light that's around the healer, as you tune into it, you're going to be aware of others there. You may see those forms of the spirit doctors as they're working, almost transparent, like you can see through them. And we see that those in the spirit world, they're drawn to sincerity. They're drawn to having intentions to reach out and to help other people. And this is the whole thing, mediumship. It's not just some type of shallow or superficial type of thing. And we think about spiritualism, like what is presented here at this camp within this Colby Memorial Temple. It's something that's on a very deep level, that someone who they may be very devout, you know, that whatever particular religion they espouse, a particular theology, but it doesn't, although it may be nice, it doesn't necessarily provide the absolute conviction that after we kick the bucket, that life continues. But more importantly, after we understand that we're not our physical bodies and there's an afterlife, how are we going about living our lives while we're here in the physical world? So a good session with a medium is going to be evidential, especially if you need it. You're an atheist, you go to the medium, you think, oh, we mix chemicals together and that's life. Does anyone here think that? You know, matter creates life. See, these are the messages from spirit coming in right now. But we know that life's eternal, right? It's separate from the body. So this spiritualist movement, it's only going to help someone who's a Christian become a better Christian, or you have someone who practices Judaism, right? The Old Testament, the Torah. It's only going to help them relate on a deeper level to the teachings of Moses, right? To the tribes of Israel. Someone's a Buddhist, spiritualism will help them to be a better Buddhist, because the teachings that we espouse, and more importantly, the power of the spirit, which is demonstrated through instruments here in this physical world, it's something which is universal. Isn't this true? How many of you have had your lives changed by this? You know, because sometimes people, you know, initially they might go to something because they want to be entertained. You know, like, let's see what the medium's going to do. Let's test the medium. You want to test the medium, but let's just give her a hard time or give him a hard time, see what comes through, ask really trivial answers. I remember I was at this one spiritualist camp, similar to Castega up in Maine. And I mean, they just booked me solid. I remember this. And you'd go there, and this one guy showed up from another part of the state, and he had this notebook. I mean, it has like probably at least 4 pages. Each line had a question on it. And he wanted to know this, he wanted to know that. And he started asking me all these about different numbers. What numbers do you get? Now, this isn't what mediumship is about, is it? Mediumship is something that when you get into it, you're not going to be able to get out of it. And we think about what the Master Jesus taught, greater things than I you can do. So it's not like as you get in touch with your own gifts of the Spirit, right? Your own inner abilities to connect with the spirit realm. Like you have to go up here and work stand up here, sit in some place and do readings for people. Every single one of us has psychic ability. Every single one of us is an eternal spirit soul. Never has there been a time when you haven't existed, right? You're eternally connected to God. And so that's not just some type of theory. That's reality. And you can scientifically test this. You know, we talk about testing mediums, going into them, having a session with a medium, right? You tape the session, you record it, some of the information, maybe you don't understand. And then you play it for your husband when you get home. Or you consult other relatives who are more familiar with your genealogy and your family history. And they confirm and validate the facts that the medium spoke. And of course, if we get into some of the manifestations or physical phenomena of spiritualism, right? Who here is not a doubting Thomas? But God wants us to be doubting Thomases. The higher spirits want us to use our intelligence, not just be gullible, right? Someone says, oh, I'm psychic, I'm channeling, they got the space alien coming through. And maybe the person doing this is dressed up in tin foil. How many of you listen to this? You'd want to question it, wouldn't you? And so the spirits, they literally will hit you over the head in a nice way. They'll go way out of their way to make you aware. And they'll use you in whatever capacity they can, to the extent that you open up. Every one of you is healing, right? We have the healing going on here in this temple. But when you pray for other people, what do you think happens with those thoughts and the energy that you're putting out? Even if someone's geographically, they could be in another continent, another side of the country, and you pray for them and you send the energy, there are entire groupings and teams of individuals in the spirit world who concentrate on bringing healing to people. And they don't necessarily have any type of personal connection with others who they're working with. But every one of us, we're our brothers and our sisters' keepers. And when you go to the world of spirit, as you progress, after you've received the therapy, maybe the healing that you need to adjust to the new environment, it's a life of service. It's a space that involves learning as the individual is ready for it. You know, we think about schools here in this physical world, and probably the biggest school that every single one of you will experience is what you're dealing with on a daily basis. And it's interesting because as a medium, you get these people with problems, you know, maybe in their relationship or issues on a professional, within their own material life. And sometimes they repeat the same pattern over and over again, right? Their thinking is a certain way, and the actions, cause and effect, is the same thing. So the higher spirits, even the spirits who aren't that high, who've messed it up, they can come through from the spirit world during a session and impart valuable insight. You know, maybe they failed miserably when they were here, but they can suggest to you alternatives. And as they progress in the spirit world, they join with others who are of like mind to touch people here and to reach people here. You know, no prayer goes unheard. No individual, no matter in this physical world, no matter how much darkness they may be experiencing, there's always that connection with the world of spirit. They know what's going on in your life. It's faster than the speed of thought. They can be there in an instant, literally. You know, they're around us because it's not like heaven or the afterlife is in some far distant place. And again, this isn't just some type of theory or speculation. This is something that is reality. And spiritualism and the process of mediumship and the science of the mechanics of the communication, as you get into this, you're actually going to be able to experience firsthand proof of all these types of things. And what's really beautiful about spiritualism as we get in touch with the gifts of the Spirit, we draw and attract those from the higher realms who will work with us. You know, we talk about healing, praying for others. Every single one of you, just as what the Master Jesus taught, has those types of abilities. So this Casa Dega, I mean, I've been coming for decades. Somehow I've stayed preserved. But I'll tell you this, the energy here is fantastic. It's wonderful. You've got people living here who dedicate their entire lives to helping other people. You know, they do readings. And it's not just because they want to make a buck. That's not really what it's about. It's because they love it. They could probably go, you know, become an attorney or become a physician, do something else, and they could help people. But there's something very, 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 very special about spiritualism. And this place, Casa Dega, is an educational center. It offers the resources, it offers the practical instruction to literally transform your life for the better in all aspects. And, you know, when we work on ourselves, what happens? It affects our families, it affects those around us within our work environments, within our neighborhoods, our community. Spiritualism is universal. And the healing and the light that's available from the world of the Spirit. It's not something that's just in a little box. So I want to encourage all of you. You know, has anyone never been to Casa Dega before? It's your first time. And we have at least one person raising their hand. You want to come back here, don't you? You want to drag your friends or your family, you know, maybe some husband who think this is just a bunch of bunk. Twist his arm and trick him and bring him here. Have him sit in the back and see what happens. You know, and usually when people get into this, it's not all of a sudden, it's gradual as a process. You know, they start to read books, they start to experience, and this is what the spirit world wants, right? We want to use our intelligence. We want to use our discernment with all these types of things. So I want to encourage every single one of you. You know, you don't necessarily have to go work as a medium, but develop your spiritual gifts. And use these spiritual gifts, because when you go to the world of the Spirit, the greatest blessing will be the attainment that's taken place in terms of your own spiritual unfoldment, in terms of how you've actually given from your heart to those around you here in this physical world. And those in the spirit world, they understand this, and they want to work with every single one of us. So may God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, Reverend Steve. You can see he teaches from his life experience and his own dedication to mediumship and his spiritual development. So we're always happy to have him. So during our musical interlude, we'll be passing our donation basket around, and we thank you very much in advance for your generosity.
Isn't it good to know that Spirit has our back? There is a plan. We all know that, but sometimes we forget it. But it's always good to tap in with ourselves and to remind ourselves that there is a higher purpose. And we just sometimes have to sit back and wait for it. Like Samsung. Here I remind myself what you said over me. Here I remind my soul who you are. You said you won't relent, won't let go, won't forget all the promises you whispered to my heart. As I wait on you, I'm gonna run and not grow weary. I'm gonna walk and not grow faint. Rise up on wings like eagles to soar I know in everything you're with me. I know you're working as I wait. Lift me up on wings like eagles to soar. This desert holds a song I will sing on and on. You're the river when the ground I walk is dry. And you will set the crooked straight, clear my path, make my way. You will lead me from the valley to the heights. And as I wait on you, I'm gonna run and not grow weary. I'm gonna walk and not grow faint. Rise up on wings like eagles to soar. I know in everything you're with me. I know you're working as I wait. Lift me up on wings like eagles to soar. Creator, keeper, life, breathe. Your name is great. Then anything I face, Christina, strong heart, then anything I face as I wait on you, I will wait. God, I will wait on you. I'm gonna run and not grow weary. I'm gonna walk and not grow faint. Rise up on wings like eagles to soar. I know in everything you're with me. I know you're working as I wait. Lift me up on wings like eagles to soar. Oh, 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 oh. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you.
So Miss Jamie Osmond singing our interlude always brings so much spirit into her music. Thank you, Jamie. So I'd like to just say a prayer of thanks for the donations given. Infinite Spirit, we receive the blessings and the kindness and the generosity, and we give thanks, and may everyone be blessed who had the spirit of giving to their own capacity, for which we are extremely grateful. And with this, we say amen. Okay. So I have announcements about our services. This Wednesday, our message bearer for Wednesday night message service will be Reverend Stephen Hermann. And that will be here in Colby Temple at 7 to 7:20 is healing. And then the service starts. It goes till 9. Next Sunday, our guest speaker on the 19th will be Reverend Philip DeLong. And then every Sunday we have Lyceum, which is our Sunday school from 9:30 to 10:15. And this is held up in the Andrew Jackson Davis building. Our speaker next week in Lyceum will be Joy Segar. So announcements of upcoming events. Today, Reverend Phil DeLong is doing Sacred Geometry and You, and that's from 2 to 4 in the Andrew Jackson Davis building. Robin Matutino is doing a weekly class called Becoming a Spiritualist, 6 to 8, also in Andrew Jackson. And Robin's class is 10, and the workshop on Sacred Geometry is 40. On Monday, our Reverend Stephen Hermann will be giving a workshop 7 to 9 in Colby Temple. In the temple. And that is on cosmic mediumship, angels, masters, and guides. Wonderful to come to that. And that's $35. So to participate in absentee healing, We ask you to print your name and the initial of the last, I'm sorry, not this is the wrong one, and the book in the back over there. And you can also put a name of a pet or someone in the healing book, and that gets distributed weekly to our healers in the camp. Also, there's flyers in your hymnal, and you're welcome to take those home and share them. And also, if you feel that you've received a healing during this time, there are the healing cards in your book. And we invite you to just fill them out and indicate if you believe or feel that you've gotten a healing from your hands-on healing or just in the meditation today. And you can give that to someone in the back as you leave or mail it in. Also, we have a website, casadega.org, that has all of our events on it, and also we have a Facebook page, Southern Casadega. Is that the name of it, Southern Casadega? Casadega, Southern Casadega. And we have all our events posted on that also. So our next hymn will be led by Jamie.
If you can rise and turn to page 197, Battle Hymn of the Republic. Mine city, the glory of the Lord, His strength to tread the ranks of the storm. He has loosed the faithful lightning of the storm. Glory, 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 I have seen the watchfires of the hundreds of the camps. They have been on to me. I can read his righteous sentence by the turn of it's marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory. He has sounded the trumpet and shall out the sound retreat. He is lifting our hearts again before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer in the truth. Our God is marching on. Glory, 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 glory. Marching on. Thank you. You may be seated.
So I know from years past that this is one of Reverend Stephen's favorite hymns to sing before he gets up and does messages. So let's invite him to the podium for messages.
All right, so good morning. So if I do come to you, what do you want to do? You're not dead yet. You don't want to be lethargic. I want to be able to hear the sound of your voice. And there's a lot of really wonderful energy here. And where do we want to go? I'm going to touch with the young man all the way in the back in the suit. May I come to you, sir? God bless you, because I want to salute you. Because there's a gentleman that comes through here from the world of the spirit. And I was actually literally saw aircraft types of carriers with the jets, you know, in terms of the memories with this gentleman. And it's interesting because he's showing me it's like mapping or coordinates. You know, if I were going to have some type of flights and even long range types of flights, you know, like the B-52s that go long range. As I'm looking at these coordinates and different types of instruments, I feel that this gentleman, he's very precise with things, you know, the communication, the coordinates, to how to get the aircraft to this particular area. And I'm going to the Cold War era with this, is what I'm being shown with this gentleman. And he's joking around. If we had to drop a nuclear bomb, he would know where it would be dropped. And I just feel he has a bit of a darker sense of humor when I sense his personality here. but he likes your dress. But I feel even the way you're dressed, sir, which is very nice, he would find some type of fault with it. You know, it has to be absolutely perfect. And I want to talk about church types of services where every single person has to be very dressed. If you're a man, dressed, it might be cooking hot with the humidity. It's very, very, very formal and very, 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 very stuffy. And I just want to say with you, you're open-ended. Everyone is a friend. You're open to everybody. You're welcoming to everybody. And with your mind, with your own abilities, you're able to go right into people and know their hearts, know where they're at. And they can confide, they can open up to you, they can confide in you, is what I'm being shown here. And I'm not sure if this is like swing or jazz or what I'm hearing here, but this gentleman, he likes to socialize, he likes the women, and he's encouraging you with what you're doing. You're able to reach people and bring people in. Now, the name of Rick or Richard is also being spelled out here over your head as well. And I just want to say here that you're protected by spirit. Even those with the wrong types of intentions are going to be touched by the light that you are transmitting to them when you interact. And I could go on to you for a long time, but I'm going to leave you with all that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And I want to touch with the young lady right next to you. They're in the other chest. They're pulling me to the back. Don't worry, I'm going to come down here. May I come to you, please? God bless you, because I have a lady, she's on the heavier side. You know, it's interesting because she's very mobile as she comes through here. She's showing me herself literally running. Now, when she was younger, I'm not sure if it was literally formal athletic types of things, but I sense her being really physically fit, even doing these older, like calisthenics. I'm outside doing calisthenics. And she did all this hard physical type of labor, because this woman probably could bench press more than me and lift a lot more than me. But I'm aware of her knees. I'm aware of her mobility as she's older. And I see her feeling very cut off, very isolated, and very depressed. Now, what's not so good about this is her hearing went. So I have to put my ear very close to the radio and play it really loud. And I feel if I were in the room and she had the radio on, I can't have a conversation because the radio's so loud. But the other thing I'm being shown is her vision. And this woman liked to read about religion, not the religion that you espouse. It's not like there's like gospel tracts or these. Her theology is very much in a box, very, very, very narrow. And she's bringing you, it's a box of them. I want to go into your own family vibration, because she was, whatever her religion, Christian denomination she was part of, they would go out and proselytize people. I mean, it's not like they're like missionaries. They're going to go out there and talk to people about the gospel. There's a lot of that stuff that she collected, and it's those tent revivals, you know, the older, but I feel like I'm going to go into the 1930s and even before that with a lot of this printed stuff. Now, she didn't just collect or read the stuff. She would have believed the stuff. But toward the end, I feel I can't read stuff. Even a magnifying glass would have been difficult, is what she's showing to me. But she's active again. And she's saying, I feel this has to do with whatever involvement you have here in this camp. You're just like her. You've got your hand in everything. Don't give up about it. Don't stop that. The other thing is her health issues. Whatever you're doing with your diet, how you're taking care of yourself, you're not going to have the same kind of issues that I had, she says. And she is so happy as she comes through here. She's yelling at me. She says, I can hear, but I can talk really loud too. And she won't shut up. So I'm going to leave you with all of that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And she's like a grandmother. And she just wants to swing, you know, dance. Okay. I want to go, sir, in the back. May I come to you, sir? God bless you, because I have a gentleman that also comes through here from the spirit world. And I saw military tanks and different types of, and it's like winter. And this guy knows how to camouflage it for the winter. And you know, if it's not done that way, like the snow, what's going to happen? Someone's going to know where it's hidden. But I feel I'm with someone literally when he was in the military. And I feel like I'm taking tanks or armored vehicles and I'm putting like like maybe they're going to be sent to the desert, so I have to make it blend in with the desert. Or I'm going to a jungle, I have to make it the camouflage, the khaki and the green's different. He would have worked literally on vehicles with the camouflage. I don't, and I see him going into combat types of situations. Now, I don't know if I'm with Korea or if I'm with the Second World War with this, but I do feel him, it's not just vehicles, but it's like camouflaging formations or places that they actually, where they would actually be, to make sure they can't see you from the air, but people on the ground aren't able to see you either. And he comes in here and he's got binoculars. And I just want to say, if this guy were my neighbor, I'd like it, because he's always watching everything on the street. He's bored out of his mind, and he's a bit like Dirty Harry. He's the kind of person who, let's say you were gone and someone's breaking into your home, or maybe just visiting, they don't know you're there. He'll confront them in the yard. Now, believe me, I do feel he was probably packing something to back up any type of threat that he would have. He was not intimidated by anyone. I see him as quite elderly, and I'm shaking like this, whatever the health conditions. But he says, I could probably still put one through someone, is what he's talking about. So I don't know if he had Parkinson's or what this was, but he's joking about this. And I feel as he comes to here from spirit, I just want to say, sir, with whatever kind of physical health types of issues you might have, I just want to say here, doctors can give you sort of an assessment, but they tend to aim toward what might not work, what might not turn out the right way. In your particular situation here, I'm seeing you with all these weights, like working out and stuff like that. I feel very good with this, because whatever you had when you were younger in your ears in terms of, muscle fitness and tone and all that development, I see you working back toward that is what I'm being shown here. And I feel people of a younger generation, if they're going to be like, how the heck did he do that? So they're encouraging you in that particular, and there's a friend of yours, and he's racing, but he's swimming back and forth, very, very, very fit. And he did it in cold water too. I feel like I'm in a lake swimming from one section to another. It's almost like Olympic type of level in an athletic sense in terms of the swimming that he was able to do performance-wise. And he's just very, he's really, and he maintained that when he was older too, I just for the swims, but it's in cold, icy water is what I'm getting with this. So I'm going to leave you. See, you need to find something January up north and have fun. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And I want to go, sir, right over here. May I come to you, please? Yeah, you. All right. God bless you, because I feel here there's a whole grouping of people that come through here from the world spirit. And I'm getting all these military people because they're giving me these memories. And I feel with this particular gentleman, he's giving me memories. I've got all the black all over my face, and he's with his whole unit. And they all went in. Now, this is definitely the Second World War, but it's at night. And it's almost like, I'm not sure if it's behind enemy lines, but it's like they're going in there and they were surprising the people. And I feel Italy, I'm feeling mountainous types of fortifications. I was involved in taking those things. He's given me a lot of different Italian types of names of places in Italy. He loves the classical sculpture, the classical culture, and the art in that region here. And I just feel like this guy's, it's like art history. I could have a conversation with him. He could tell me all about these things. And I just feel like I'm going into those places and it's destruction and war. But in the aftermath of that, he really got an education just by being exposed to all that is what he's talking about here. And he's talking about you. It's like the twilight of your life, but it's really not. And whatever kind of savings you have or money. Now, I just want to talk about, sometimes people say, well, I've got my money, I should give it to my family. Actually, in your particular case, you need to utilize this to actually go to some of these places. They're also showing me Greece and all the Greek islands here too, literally. So I don't feel this is something you're going to be doing alone. I feel others in your family, younger generation, who would actually want to go with you. And it feels more like I'm dealing with grandchildren as opposed to kids with this. Don't worry about the whole money thing, because I feel they're also interested. They would contribute in kind of making this take place here, but he's showing me older types of battlefields, and he's talking about your own interest in history. Now, your interest in history is not just the Second World War. There's that there. It's the older eras, the Greeks, the Romans, all of what would have taken place there historically, the different battlefields and everything. So this will be something that will literally enrich you. And I feel like I'm in a museum and I'm looking at old armor from that era and different types of weaponry. And all of that fascinates you. So there's a need here. Also, another gentleman here spent a lot of his time on his knees on the ground, literally finding mines. And I just feel like I'm in a vast desert with this. That's also the Second World War. And I just feel everywhere is sand. And he's got some type of metal needle and he's searching for mines, is what I'm being shown here. And it's like a bomb disposal type of person with the memories. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And he didn't like where he was. He didn't like, that Northern Africa or Egypt, wherever he was located with all of this. So I'm going to leave you with that. Didn't appreciate the culture. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And I want to come over here to the side, this young woman. May I come to you, please? Yeah, you. All right, God bless you, because I've got a woman who's coming in here from the spirit world, and she's giving me instruction on how to ride a horse. Not just that, how to actually approach the horse, how to climb up on it and get into it. And she's really impatient with me. I mean, she knows her stuff, but I'll tell you, her teaching abilities, her communication abilities, as I'm sensing her, feel really lacking. She's a bit too, rough with how she says stuff. And she's not open. Like, in other words, if I goofed up a bit, I just see her having a real problem with this. Now, I want to she's coming in within your own environment here. You can be a bit impatient with people because you don't like repeating yourself. The people you're addressing right now, and I want to go into your own, people close. We're talking about friends or people within your own close life. They don't know any better. And I feel a younger woman on a physical plane level is what I'm being shown here. She doesn't have to learn the hard way. And that's what you're concerned about. You mean well. However, I guess the word I'd use is browbeat. I mean this nicely. But, if you kind of overdo it, she's not really going to be open to it. She's not going to get the message that you're trying to get across. And I want to say here that what you're concerned about isn't the worst case scenario, isn't really going to happen. But on her part, what she wants to happen, she's going to be disappointed. And little things can affect her, the woman's saying. Now, the woman that's coming in here, who's kind of very stern, she's older generation than you, she's really a lot softer, a lot more sensitive than she came across. And she's heavily into like music. So she's opinionated. You're playing that junk. That's like pop or rock. That's garbage. That's not music. She likes this highbrow. And I just feel here as she comes through here from spirit, she's going to help you to tone it down. Because again, when you're dealing with the younger generation, if you can kind of get them to hey, I like that music. When I was your age, I played the same kind of stuff, but it was a bit different this way. They'll open up a lot more to you. They'll be more receptive to you. Also, there's someone here who comes in here from spirit who's a guy, and he gives me a memory, and he let all the water out of the fish tank. And I feel very sorry for all of these fish as he comes through here. And I'm seeing all of these, they're fish. It's like if somebody kept lizards and things like different types of creatures like this. And I just want to say that this guy was not very responsible in terms of how he took care of them. And he's very brotherly as he comes in here. And I wouldn't want him running my business because he probably would really not do a good job. I don't see him being able to hold the job. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And where do we want to go? I've got to go to this gentleman in the yellow. I'm picking on men today. May I come to you? Yes, sir. Let me just hear your voice, please. God bless you. There is a whole group of people that are coming in around from spirit. And they're actually, I'm seeing them just giving you all these flowers. And I feel, I just want to say, I'm going to describe the communicators in a moment, but I want to talk about your approach. It's not so much just to spirituality, your approach to healing, consequently, your approach to other people in terms of acceptance of other people. And I want to just say, sir, how you are going about doing things, you're basically doing it in the right type of way is what I'm being shown here. And there's a gentleman that comes through here from the world of spirit. Now, I feel fatherly, but I feel I'm dealing with more what I would feel is a grandfather is what I'm feeling here. And I just want to say here that in your own upbringing, the restrictions that were placed on you, I just feel you literally, with how you're doing things, it's almost like you've reacted and you're doing things the exact opposite. The grandfather that I'm feeling feels responsible for that, in terms of whatever how your parents approach things. And I want to just say the grandfather is around you in a supportive sense, but he's also learning how you actually do with things. Now, they're writing the word teacher over your head. And I want to just say here that you have done so much hands-on type of work. And this relates to healing in terms of your own spiritual growth. There's a need here in the present to actually work with this in terms of instructing or turning on other people as well. It's sort of like we can study so many things, but if we don't actually take those things and share them or transmit them to other people, then there's a bit of a limitation there is what I'm being shown here. And you really have a lot of people around you in spirit. And I just feel are they there? You're talking, but they are very much there. And so I feel in terms of your involvement with what we're doing here in spiritualism, I feel like you need to be even more involved in terms of opening up. How the spirits would work with you mediumistically, it's very, very different than myself or quite a few of the mediums here. But I want to say here that through you, and this is already something taking place, you're able to actually really reach people, and people who the levels of their problems are pretty severe. And I just feel those are not people who necessarily would go to a medium, would necessarily go to a place like Casadega with what I'm feeling. So I'm going to leave you with all of that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. And I want to go. Oh, all right. Well, thank you all very much. And God bless each and every one of you.
Oh, thank you. So want to remind everyone that we do have a message service, afternoon message service from 12 to 12:30. And Steve actually will be back and we'll be giving a few more messages then, along with our student mediums and probably some other mediums. So we reach as many individuals as possible during that time, spirit greetings. So everyone's welcome. We encourage you also to visit our bookstore, which is open 11:30 to 5 today, and Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. And now Jamie will give our closing hymn.
You can rise and turn to page 203, Let There Be Peace. Let there be peace on earth and let us walk with each other and let peace begin with me. And now
Infinite Spirit, we are grateful in our hearts. We receive the warmth of love and spirit, messages, loved ones. We receive the gifts that have been given today, and we affirm the beauty and the light and the love in our hearts in this moment. And for this, we say, Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Have a beautiful day.
Oh, you are so lovely. That's all.
Yeah, the last one, or the one
The one I sang.
You were so good.